I want you to picture something for me. You're standing in a village, deep in the Sine Saloum Delta in Senegal.
Okay.
It's hot, it's dusty, and the infrastructure is, let's just say it's minimal.
I'm picturing it.
But right there in this small kiosk, there's a piece of high-tech Swiss engineering just humming along.
And it's running on what? A generator?
Solar panels, completely off-grid. And it's taking this awful, salty groundwater and turning it into crystal clear drinking water.
That's quite a contrast. Usually when you see something like that, it's a relic.
A relic.
Yeah, something a donor dropped off 6 months ago that broke, and now it's just sitting there rusting.
Exactly, the graveyard of well-meaning projects. But the story we're digging into today is different. We're looking at a stack of documents about a company called SwissFreshWater.
SFW, yep.
And the thing that caught our eye isn't just that the machine works, it's that they think they've figured out how to stop that cycle of build and abandon.
Right. The sources we have, company histories, impact reports from Fitatrust, Aqua for All, some really deep case studies, they all point to one thing. They're not treating this like charity.
They're treating it like a business.
A franchise business.
I saw someone call it the McDonald's for water, and I couldn't unsee it.
It sounds a bit provocative, but it kind of fits. The whole mission here, what we're unpacking, is how they moved beyond that old aid model to build something sustainable.
So we have to talk about the tech, but the real story is the business model. And, the huge challenge of trying to sell water to people who are used to getting it for free.
Even when that free water is making them incredibly sick.
So let's start at the beginning. Who are these guys? SwissFreshWater sounds pretty corporate.
It does, but it started with a really humanistic mission. Founded back in 2008 by two guys, Renaud de Watteville and Jean-François Treveau. They were engineers with a goal.
And they picked a very specific place to prove it could work.
The Sine Saloum Delta in Senegal. Because the water situation there is just uniquely terrible. It's a worst-case scenario.
How so?
Well, you have to understand the geography. It's a delta. So the groundwater mixes with the ocean. The water is brackish.
Meaning salty.
Right. Not quite seawater, but way too salty to drink. But the salt, it isn't even the worst part.
What's worse than salt?
The reports highlight that the water is naturally, and I mean really naturally, high in fluoride.
Fluoride? I thought that was a good thing. For your teeth.
In tiny, tiny amounts, yes. But in the concentrations they have in their daily drinking water, it's basically a slow poison. It causes something called fluorosis.
Okay.
In adults, it leads to things like severe hypertension. But in kids, it's heartbreaking.
Right.
It stains their teeth permanently black and can even deform their bones.
I saw some pictures of that in the case studies, the kids with the black stained teeth. It's visceral.
It really is. And on top of all that, you just have the usual biological nightmare, bacteria.
Of course.
The local health posts were seeing about 50 severe cases of diarrhea every single month.
50. So SFW installs their first 2 pilot machines there in 2011. What happened?
The impact was immediate, night and day, those diarrhea cases. They dropped from 50 a month to just 4 or 5.
That's a 90% drop.
Almost overnight. So the technology worked, no question.
But, and this feels like the big pivot for the whole story, a machine that works isn't the same as a solution that lasts.
Precisely. That was their big aha moment. They realized if they just donated the machine to a village committee and walked away, it would break.
And when a Swiss-engineered machine breaks in rural Senegal...
Nobody has the parts, nobody has the expertise, nobody has the cash. It just stays broken.
Graveyard.
So they knew they needed a system. This brings us to their structure, which is really interesting. It's a split model.
A hybrid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
On one side, they have a nonprofit foundation, Access to Water. That arm handles the really tough, ultra-rural places where you just can't make money. It's the charity side.
Okay. But on the other side...
On the other side, they created a for-profit company, West Africa Water.
And that's the engine.
That's the engine. And they launched a consumer brand, Diam'O, which means water of peace. And this is where the franchise model really kicks in.
So walk me through it. I'm an entrepreneur in a Senegalese town. I want to sell clean water. What do I do?
Well, you don't have to buy the $20,000 machine. That's the key. You couldn't afford it.
Right.
Instead, you apply to be a franchisee. West Africa Water provides the machine, the branding, the training, and this is the most important part, the maintenance.
So they take on all the technology risk? What's my job?
You take the operational risk, you find a location, you pay for the electricity, you run the shop. You are the face of the business. You sell the water.
And how is the money split?
You pay a wholesale price back to West Africa Water, which covers the machine and maintenance, and you keep the rest. You keep the margin.
This is what I found so clever. It's about the incentives.
Tell me.
In the old charity model, if the well breaks, the village just waits. They hope the NGO comes back someday.
Right. They're a beneficiary.
But in this model, if the machine breaks, the franchisee immediately stops making money.
And West Africa Water immediately stops getting paid.
So everybody is screaming to get it fixed now.
It aligns the profit motive with the humanitarian goal. Your beneficiary becomes a demanding customer, which is a much healthier relationship.
Let's talk about the price for the end user, though, because for-profit can sound expensive. Can people actually afford this?
It's a balancing act. The price is about 300 CFA francs for 10 liters. So that's roughly 50 cents US.
50 cents for a big jug of water.
Right. Now, compared to the free, dirty well water, that's infinitely more expensive. But compared to bottled mineral water, it's at least 50% cheaper. It sits in that middle ground.
And for the entrepreneur running the kiosk, is this just a side hustle?
No, it's a real job. The reports say a successful kiosk, one selling about 3,000 liters a day, can net the operator over 800 euros a month.
800 euros. In rural Senegal, that's a life-changing amount of money.
It's a solid middle-class income. It's transformative.
Okay, so the business model makes sense. But it all hinges on the technology actually holding up in that environment. What exactly is this machine?
It's called the BW Delta. It's pretty compact, about 80 kilos, and it's designed to be plug and play. But the process inside is a 4-stage filtration.
Can you break that down for us?
Sure. You start with basic pre-filtration for mud and sand, then ultrafiltration for bacteria, but the really heavy lifting is done by reverse osmosis, RO.
I've heard of RO. That's for getting salt out of seawater, right?
Exactly, and that's why they need it. A simple filter can't remove dissolved salt or fluoride. You have to force the water through a membrane at super high pressure to strip those molecules out.
Isn't that process incredibly energy hungry?
It can be.
Yeah.
But they engineered this specific system to be very low power. It had to be, so it could run on solar. That was a non-negotiable design feature.
I saw one little detail in the engineering report that I loved. It said the machine has no solenoid valves. I'm not a plumber, but that sounds important.
Oh, it's a huge deal for reliability. A solenoid valve is basically an electric switch for water.
Okay.
They're standard in any water plant in, Zurich. But in the Senegalese Delta, with the dust, the heat, the unstable power, they just burn out constantly.
SFW just got rid of them.
They engineered them out. They used a smarter hydraulic design that uses water pressure itself to open and close flows. It's a great example of making something more reliable by making it less complex electronically.
And then, kind of ironically, they layer this incredibly high-tech system on top of that mechanical simplicity.
The Internet of Things, the IoT, this is the secret sauce for managing the franchise network.
Every single machine is connected to the internet.
Everyone.
So a technician sitting in Dakar can see what's happening in a kiosk 200 kilometers away.
They can see everything. Water flow rates, pressure levels, quality sensors. It allows for predictive maintenance. Instead of waiting for it to break, they see a pressure drop and know a filter is clogging.
So they can send someone out before the water stops flowing.
Exactly. And they can also control it remotely.
Right, they can shut it down.
Yep. From thousands of miles away if they have to.
That sounds a little big brother. Why would they do that?
2 main reasons. The first is safety. If a sensor detects the water quality has dipped, the machine shuts off automatically. No one drinks bad water, period.
And the second reason
Is financial.
If the franchisee doesn't pay their bill.
Exactly. If someone tries to bypass the payment system or just stops paying their lease fee, SFW can remotely turn the machine into a very expensive brick.
It sounds harsh, but I guess it protects the entire system.
It's the only way to guarantee the revenue that pays for that maintenance network.
Okay, so we have the model, we have the tech, but reading the challenges section of these reports, this has not been an easy road.
Not at all. The reality on the ground in West Africa hit them hard.
Let's get into those challenges because I think that's where the real lessons are. The first one is just simple math. Financial sustainability.
It's a volume business. When you're selling water for pennies, you have to sell a lot of it. The magic number for a kiosk to be profitable is around 3,000 liters a day.
And were they hitting that number?
In the bigger towns, yes.
Yeah.
But in the smaller, more rural villages, not even close. Many were struggling.
So what did they do?
They had to get smarter. They shifted from a growth at all costs mindset to an efficiency mindset. So more kiosks became better kiosks. They renovated old units, and they adopted a hub-and-spoke model.
Which connects to that second huge distribution.
The last mile problem.
Right. You have to remember, water is heavy. A 20-liter jerry can is 20 kilos. Are you really going to walk 2 kilometers each way in the heat to get that?
Or are you just going to use the dirty well that's right across the street?
Convenience always wins.
Always. So they realized they couldn't just build a shop and wait for people to come. They had to take the water to the people.
This is where the delivery services started.
Exactly. They started helping franchisees get motor tricycles, donkey carts. They set up relay kiosks, just little satellite sales points, not treatment centers, to get closer to customers.
And that actually creates even more jobs for delivery drivers.
Correct. But even if you solve the distance problem, you get maybe the toughest challenge of all.
Behavior change.
Convincing people to pay for something that has always been free.
That's a huge mental hurdle.
It is. But there was another issue, a physical one. Taste.
Taste. I thought the water was pure.
It is. But if you spent your entire life drinking very hard, mineral-rich, slightly salty water, pure RO water tastes weird.
It tastes flat.
Exactly. The report said some locals described it as tasting empty or even medicinal.
I never would have thought of that. We just assume pure is better.
So they had to stop being just engineers and start being marketers. They ran blind taste tests. They branded the water as light and easy to digest. And crucially, they recruited local champions.
Village chiefs, nurses.
Religious leaders. People the community already trusted. If the imam says the water is good, it's good. If some Swiss guy says it's good, you're not so sure.
It all comes down to trust.
Absolutely.
So after navigating all of that, where are they now? What's the actual impact?
The impact's pretty significant. I mean, beyond the health stats, which are amazing, there's a big environmental piece.
The reusable containers.
Right, the jerry cans. You buy it once, you refill it forever. They estimate that a single customer saves about 40 kilograms of plastic waste a year compared to buying disposable bottles.
40 kilos per person, you multiply that by thousands of customers.
It's a huge amount of plastic that's not ending up in the environment. And then there are the jobs, the empowerment. The reports mention entrepreneurs like Madame Kamara.
The woman who started with one kiosk and now has several.
Yeah, she's building a small business empire. It's genuine economic empowerment, not a handout.
So what's next for them? They have this Vision 2027 plan.
It's all about scale. The goal is to go from about 120 kiosks to 500. They're expanding out of Senegal into Ivory Coast and Cameroon. They want to be producing 1 million liters of safe water every day.
And they're testing new tech to help them get there. I saw something about water ATMs.
That's the next step. Automated dispensing. Think of it like a vending machine for water.
Yeah.
You tap a smart card or use mobile money, and it fills your jug.
Why is that better?
It runs 24/7. But more importantly, it removes cash from the kiosk. Handling a lot of cash in some of these areas is a big security risk. This makes it safer, more transparent.
There was one other innovation I saw that just seems so smart, the car wash.
Oh, the brine reuse, yes. So RO produces a waste stream of concentrated salty water.
Right.
And only you just dump it. But they're setting up car washes next to the kiosks that use this salty wastewater.
Because you don't need pure drinking water to wash a car.
Exactly. It turns a waste product into a whole new revenue stream for the franchisee.
So, to wrap this all up, we started with this question of whether a business model can solve a humanitarian problem. And SFW seems to prove that it can.
It can, but only if you treat it like a real business, with all the messy logistics and marketing and supply chains that entails.
The real innovation wasn't the machine itself.
Not really.
Yeah.
Reverse osmosis has been around for ages.
Yeah.
The innovation is the whole ecosystem. It's the franchise contract, the IoT monitoring, the delivery tricycle.
You can't just drop the technology and leave.
The tech is maybe 20% of the solution. The other 80% is the hard human work of operations and building trust.
Which leads me to my final thought for you to chew on. SFW has spent more than a decade perfecting this model in Senegal. They know the culture, they know the local politics.
They learned the hard way.
But now they're talking about scaling to completely new countries. Indonesia, Pakistan.
That's a whole different world.
Exactly. Can a Swiss-designed franchise model perfected in West Africa just be copy-pasted into a village in rural Pakistan? The physics of water filtration won't change. The machine will work.
But the human element, the culture of trust, the way business is done.
That's the billion-dollar question. Technology is easy to scale. Culture is not.
And that is the ultimate test for them.
And on that note, we'll leave it there for this deep dive. Thanks for listening.
We'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you for listening to Mission Possible. innovating for the world's most marginalized. This podcast is built on the outstanding work of our students, whose curiosity and commitment drive much of the research and storytelling you hear. Each episode is grounded in academic research and shaped through close collaboration with our partners. To learn more about the research and partnerships behind this podcast, feel free to contact us. Thank you for joining.